Hello and welcome to Adobe Live. Thanks so much for joining us today. If we haven't met yet, I'm Jordan Danae Ellis, and I'm here as always with Andy Lambert. Hey, Andy.
Hello, Jordan. How are you?
Good. I'm excited about today because we're going to talk about the future of social media and then how the latest things in Adobe Express can help you do the do the things you need to do to stand out on social. So this is like kind of a combination. If you watch our streams, we do a combination of like how to use Adobe Express to create social content and then also like trends and what up like roundups of what's new. So today's stream is a little bit of a combo of both, which I'm excited about. But before we get started, we should introduce ourselves. Would you like to go first?
Oh, thanks, Jordan. Yeah, I think this session will be pretty fun actually
Yeah.
because it plays nicely into our roles we fit into. I'm the nerdy, geeky one that'll get obsessed over what's the macro trends, what's happening on social media, and I'm going to hand over to the creative star of the show after that. So, I'm Andy. If we've not yet met, I'm a senior manager of product working on Adobe Express. So any questions that you have related to Adobe Express, we're here for them. We'll be monitoring the chat throughout the live stream. And yeah, the other parts that you might need to know, I've spent basically, sadly enough, my entire working life in social media, building marketing technology, and working in agencies, etc. Wrote a best-selling book on social media. So basically, if you want to be bored about social media, I'm the guy to speak to at a dinner party. So other than that, over to you, Jordan.
Yeah, so I never know the numbers of anything, which is why me and Andy are a great pair. But I started a business in 2011 and then kind of started two other ones after that, of varying levels of doing it full time and how long they lasted. But I've done like the scrappy do it yourself marketing thing. And now that I work at Adobe, I work on Adobe Express and also do like online excuse me, online community and marketing stuff for a corporation. So I have an interesting resume of being super scrappy and then also like doing this, professionally. So wherever you are on that journey, me or Andy should have some useful tips for helping you stand out online, helping you make the content you need. And also, I think no matter where you are, there's too much to do and not enough time to do it. So that's where Express comes in to help us make the things that we actually need to make faster, more efficiently, so that we can live our lives and do the rest of the jobs that we have to do. Um, yeah, so that's us, and I'm excited to chat about the trends and yeah, what's upcoming in the world of social media these days.
Let's dive in. Right. So, for those of you that join us for our like monthly roundups, where we evaluate what's happened over the course of the month and we talk through that, consider this like a condensed one, but one that kind of puts together the first 3 months of this year. And I've spent a lot of time analyzing where social media is headed. Of course, it's kind of like best guess, looking at data, etc. But really, what I would love for you to come away from this call with is like a real solid understanding of the things that are changing in the world of social and what you can do. And you don't need to do all of these things, but what are the kind of things that you could do or change that will help you capture some of this incredible potential that's happening on social and some of the tactics that you can apply to help grow your brand. So that's our kind of promise for today. And then we're going to hand over to Jordan, who's going to take us through some of the latest things that I've dropped in Adobe Express. And, in a very similar way, we've been very busy over the first quarter of this year. And a whole bunch of new things have dropped all at once. So Jordan's going to kind of take you through a lot of these updates. But anyway, let's look at data and trends. High level is this: social media continues to grow 10% year over year. Facebook is still the biggest with 3 billion monthly active users. We show this all the time, so you're probably familiar with this. Feel free to take screenshots of any of these. You have like where this data is from in these slides as well, if you want to use them for yourselves. But ultimately, this can give us an idea as to like how much social media is growing. But actually, I think some of the stuff when you peek inside this data actually gets a bit more useful. Average number of social platforms used varies by age demographics. So this might have some considerations depending on who you target for your business, as we're all different. And depending on like whether it's certain age range or demographics, gender splits, etc. And I think the TLDR here is that we're using more social platforms than ever, not less, as kind of overwhelming and slightly depressing as that stat might be. And I think maybe I speak for myself, probably speak for you as well, Jordan, that, I think having another social platform in the mix is usually fills me with dread and overwhelm. But either way, we seem to be using more, not less. But the good news is, however, and I'll speak about this more as we go on, especially as it relates to short form video, there is so much we can do to repurpose our content across multiple platforms. And Jordan has something very good up her sleeve to show how we can repurpose video content. So I'm not going to spoil that. I'll wait to Jordan jumps in and talks about it later. But there was some really useful data that came out from Metrical recently, and I thought it was so important for us to share because this has some profound impact for us as businesses. Now, I wouldn't for the life of me say that, oh, everyone needs to suddenly abandon what they're doing and suddenly take all of the action based on the data that I'm sharing. Of course, think about this pragmatically, think about your audience and your own data, but hopefully this gives you some broader macro level social media context for what we might do to improve our strategies. What we're seeing here is that for smaller accounts, YouTube is absolutely crushing it. So, and it's crushing it particularly for reach. And this is what impressions per follower is all about. Ultimately, these three platforms predominantly are the three platforms where followers don't really matter anymore. Ultimately, it's the quality of content that is a great leveler. So whilst that's pretty empowering for those with smaller accounts, kind of depressing for those that have spent years, Jordan, you've been building communities for years and building up your follower base. I mean, how do you see, for you personally, as like a small business owner, because you can see it through two lenses, like the shift in social away from like that follower graph into more short form video, more recommended media that we talk about? What's your kind of take on this?
It is really interesting because, yeah, like I said, I started this in 2011. And so back then, I feel like I guess it was always like a vanity metric, but followers had this. It kind of like I don't know, I feel like it let you know if you were a serious business or not. Because that was also kind of early on when it was like, oh, you could tell if someone was like spammy if they didn't have a lot of followers, and you kind of felt more legit if you did. And so it's still ingrained in me is this like follower count is the number we're going for. It like legitimizes you. And it's been interesting to shift that because we always talk about like what's the actual goal, what do you actually need out of this, and some of the numbers are like, they're not real. Like going viral once isn't going to shift your business, and I feel like this is kind of the thing, like having a lot of followers is not necessarily doing anything for you anymore. So it has been interesting for me to think about like, okay, what does my content doing well look like these days? And it feels like it has changed in the past 10 years, and it's hard for my brain sometimes to like focus on the right thing.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It definitely has shifted and it continues to shift. But the great thing is that, it now lowers the barrier to entry for us
That's so
all.
true.
And for anyone can drive significant reach with low followers. And I think that, especially if, Jordan and I usually look at this from like a small business kind of scrappy marketing point of
Hmm.
view. And when you think about it from that lens, you realize that this is actually incredibly empowering. Now, also in this data, just because TikTok and Instagram's got some minus numbers by it, that just means that impressions have shifted down year over year. But ultimately, they're still indexing higher in terms of impressions per follower. Basically, if your impressions per follower is more than one, it means that you're reaching beyond your followers. And from a kind of top of funnel discovery point of view, because that's what we want reach, we want more eyes on us, we want to build our brand. So any platform that's north of one is really strong. For engagement point of views, LinkedIn is doing an incredible thing for engagement right now. Every single new report I look at, indexes LinkedIn as number one, which is really significant because, of course, reach is very important. Reach is still number one. Views, ultimately, we'll talk more about views as we go on and the importance of views over followers. But of course, we want to still drive relevance. We still want discussion. We still want to have meaningful dialogue with our potential audiences. That's where engagement rates are a really important thing. And that's where LinkedIn is still, I've said this a few months ago, like LinkedIn's having a moment right now. That moment seems to be continuing, and LinkedIn continues to be really strong. It's both, indexing very well for overall reach and also engagement. We'll talk more about that in a second. But like short form video views continue to grow, whilst TikTok is still way above Instagram Reels. Instagram Reels has kind of like rode back and controlled its reach. They were giving away so much reach last year. It seems to have like gone in a little bit this year. So don't worry if you're not getting the same views on your Insta Reels this year as you were last year. Many are feeling the same. Ultimately, though, it's one of those things I don't worry about too much because one, we can't really control it, and two, I still find it an absolute miracle that we can post things for free and they can get such incredible distribution. And the fact that we can repurpose our content so we don't have to create something specific for Instagram Reels versus TikTok versus YouTube Shorts or even LinkedIn, we can post the same darn thing to multiple channels, and then all we're doing is increasing our distribution. So I think if we think about it like that, I just see it as like a net benefit and net positive.
Yeah,
For,
just real quick, I think that's a really important way to look at it too, because obviously it's easy to complain about social media. Like it does a lot of frustrating things and you spend a lot of time working on a strategy and then the platform changes. But the thing that helps me a lot, because being grumpy about the job you have to do is not the easiest way to do the job. Thinking about it, like we do have this amazing free resource to promote ourselves that didn't exist before. That always kind of helps me when it feels frustrating to be like, all right, moment of gratitude for the fact that we can like post to the entire world for free. That's cool. So just calling that out, if you're feeling frustrated, that helps me. Just kind of reframe it a little bit.
yeah, I'm definitely with you, and it is hard sometimes to think unemotionally about social
Yeah.
media because, like you said, uh, you already mentioned that followers as a way of like legitimizing you, and sometimes, and I'm guilty of this too, of like overthinking about like, oh, I got didn't get as many likes today as before, but ultimately there are things we can control and there are things we can't control. We do our best. We try and follow as much strategy as possible. We put it out into the world, and what will be will be. But when we look at engagement rates for larger accounts as well, it stays fairly similar, but actually LinkedIn just gets even stronger. So everything else drops a little bit. Engagement's still pretty strong across multiple different platforms as well. So you're not really going wrong. Interesting, YouTube indexes lower for engagement rates. The reason for that, and we typically see this correlation when a platform is pushing reach so broadly, they're like taking content and pushing it and displaying it to so many people. Naturally, it means that engagement goes down because the net result of that is, more people seeing your content. Likely, it's going to land on people that are not your target audience's feeds. That's okay. It's just typically I find those numbers are very correlated. I've said this already, but I think this really calls it out, is that it's incredibly rare to see a platform that performs like LinkedIn that is doing incredibly well for overall impressions. Impressions, basically, you could say like views is the same thing as impressions ultimately. So doing really well for that, doing really well for engagement rates too. Like I said with YouTube, we usually see those relationships as inversely proportional, where more reach, typically lower engagement, but actually LinkedIn is balancing the two. And interestingly, we're seeing less posts year over year. From 23 to 2024, there was less posts on LinkedIn. So actually, is so fewer. I think I'm actually remembering the stats, so I might get it wrong, but it's like 99% or 98% of LinkedIn users never post because we have
I
that.
believe that. Yeah, I believe that.
I think there's a very real fear, right? When you've got your name associated with something that like, oh, you've got your ex-colleagues that follow you, your boss follows you or whatever. feels like a weight of responsibility. But just know, similar to your point earlier, Jordan, like if you can detach yourself from that and go, oh, actually, I'm just taking advantage of this as an opportunity, then if you can be consistent on LinkedIn, there's fantastic opportunity. So what I thought Metrical also did a really good job with this data is kind of put this together into a funnel. So thinking about how we might look at all these different platforms and see them for different purposes. So they're platforms that are really strong for top of funnel. We've already spoken about those. Typically the short form video platforms, and then LinkedIn. Obviously LinkedIn is that kind of weird anomaly that's great across them all. You'll see LinkedIn appearing at each stage in a funnel. And in the middle of the funnel, there's platforms that's better for engagement rates, and then there's platforms that are better for like clicks, ultimate interactions. But to be honest, those clicks against a post, even though those numbers look good, just know social networks hate links in posts because they don't really want anyone to be directed away from the platform, which makes sense. So ultimately try and avoid putting links in posts, just my tip there. Now, flipping out of that into some other data before we move on, this is really useful for you to understand like how big short form video is across platforms. We talk loads about repurposing, we talk about short form video, and I'm sure like Andy, boring, move on, yada yada, you said it before. But honestly, I couldn't stress more like how important this is, because this is what's dominating people's time on these platforms. And when we think about like where is the underpriced attention, where is our opportunity to get in front of people for free? Well, we have the production costs and our time, which are not free, but ultimately, without having to pay for advertising, getting in front of these people, this is where short form video is incredibly powerful. You'll see that it's dominating time spent on the majority of platforms, certainly the biggest ones. And like I said earlier, the more the more you create short form video, the more you can just repurpose it. And honestly, I've said this before, and not everyone loves this advice, but for me, I am totally comfortable with posting the exact same content across multiple different platforms. Often, lots of people go, no, you need to make it unique for each platform. Me personally, I don't get that narrative, because I think about social platforms, particularly on short form video, as an entertainment oriented platform. This is about discovery, recommended content, and it's incredibly unlikely, so unlikely, that someone is going to see your same post on TikTok and Instagram and go, hey, you posted the same thing. It's some weird narrative that I've heard in the social media world. Basically, if it were me, I wouldn't worry about it. I would try and maximize distribution. Now, sometimes that narrative isn't loved by everyone, but I'm interested in your take on that, Jordan.
Yeah, I think there are times where I'm like, oh, this does not make sense on this platform. So I plan to post everything everywhere, and then sometimes I'll kind of like scale back. But I always think about like, because I used to think that too, someone would notice I posted the same thing, or like sometimes I repost things from a while ago and I'm like, or what if I use the same song in a reel? My favorite way to think about that is like, no one is paying that much attention to you. Like, no one is clocking everything that you post on Twitter and on Instagram. Like, there's just too much happening. It would be great if anyone
Yep.
was actually monitoring your socials like that, but I agree. And also, I don't think that's weird. Like, if a business I know that I follow on multiple platforms is having a sale, I'm not like, oh, that's crazy, you posted the same sale on Facebook and Instagram. Like, of course they did. So I don't know. I'm kind of with you.
Yeah, I'm interested to know in the chat whether anyone feels the same.
We have
But
at least one agree.
yeah,
So
right, fine.
Amy agrees.
we're not we're not entirely alone. But
Yeah.
anyway, let's go to let's talk about Threads for a moment. So Threads versus X. Got a little bit quiet on the Threads front because they were busy talking about how quickly it's been growing. It's about 320 million users, so pretty sizable, not as big as X. But the engagement rates are getting much stronger, and I'm starting to see a lot of narrative around people seeing great success on Threads. Now, Threads isn't the platform for you to like drive awareness in the same way that you could on, short form video, LinkedIn, etc. Threads is great for deeper connection, for when you want to get inside of an industry and have more meaningful dialogue. So I think, again, it goes back to that kind of funnel that we were showing a moment ago, thinking about where do platforms fit in our mix and what should we use them for. Again, this is really back down to our social strategy. What am I trying to achieve with the particular platform or format in question? And this is where Threads is really strong for engagement. Now, I'm going to quickly jump through some best time to post data. This always seems to be very popular whenever we talk about this stuff. Hootsuite produced this data, and it's really useful. And
this is a good time to say too that, feel free to screenshot this, and this recording is available on Adobe Live. Also, question, Andy, are you sharing these slides anywhere? I know sometimes you share the recap slides. We had a question in chat.
Yes. So usually I put my little QR code to download these slides, but today I've forgotten to do that. So, if I could ask anyone, if you could just DM me on LinkedIn, I'll just send you the slides directly. So DM me, I'll send you the slides, and then you're good to go. And sorry, if I was better organized, I would have had a QR code ready for you.
No, that's okay. This is a different kind of stream, so I wasn't sure if that still stands. But yeah, good message Andy for the slides.
All right, let's continue. There's a lot of consistency here. So the darker green means that this is where the majority of engagement is happening. So two schools of thought on this really is like, oh, I could start posting when all the engagement is happening, or actually, this is the busy period, I could post somewhere else. So there is no golden rule for the best time to post, depends on your audience, etc. But typically what you'll see across social is that really in the midweeks, in the mornings, you'll see it mostly around here. You'll see that Wednesday is strongest for Insta, for Facebook, it's more mornings orientated. LinkedIn is really heavy on Fridays, and that was interesting. That kind of changed my posting strategy when I saw that. So I always avoided Fridays, thinking that, why would you post on a Friday? It's not as busy. But actually, Friday is great for engagement on LinkedIn. So maybe people at work are dodging work on Friday mornings. So that might be the thing. Who knows? But either way, give it a little test to see whether Friday mornings work for you. X is even more specific on Monday and Tuesday. Again, mornings, again in the midweek. The only platform really to buck this trend is TikTok, where you start to see the dark colors happening more into the evening. And then Saturday, 12 a.m., brain rot, doom scroll, all of those. Ultimately, that's what's happening on Saturday evenings. So if you want to get noticed, then that is the time for TikTok. So very interesting to see, the mornings are pretty blank. And in fact, most of my posting on TikTok happens in the morning. So I think I need to tweak and test that. And I think, again, just have a bit of a test and learn mentality here. And it's worthwhile saying the timing of your post doesn't matter quite as much as it used to, because it's less about followers. It's more about recommended content, but still posting when there is more chance of people being online means there's better chance of early engagement. And those early engagement signals are really important. Like the first hour of your post where you capture some early engagement is really important for it starting to get surfaced further. Really interesting here, and this data was kind of concerning, really. So if anyone that does SEO or cares about SEO, which is myself included, HubSpot have been the kings of SEO for a long time, right? So you Google anything around inbound marketing or marketing in general, you typically find a HubSpot blog, but their search traffic absolutely crashed earlier this year. And while some of that has been recovered, ultimately social search is changing. Search is changing because AI search, zero-click search, when you Google something, you're typically getting your AI answers. And increasingly, not as much as the media would have you believe, but people are starting to use ChatGPT or other search engines like Perplexity. So Google's dominance is still there, but it's starting to show kind of chinks in the armor, which is interesting. And this also leads to the fact that increasingly, we as users don't want to be served a whole load of blue links. We just want genuine advice and recommendations, which is why we're starting to see a lot of search also happen in Reddit and in social search, to a point that even TikTok are one surfacing keywords and making like the search function in TikTok really good. So if you use TikTok now and started searching in TikTok, you'll see like keyword recommendations and that kind of thing, similar to when you search Google. So basically the advice here is like start to think about your social content. So from a business context, making sure you've got keywords in your content, and even to a point that TikTok are starting to even like sell search ads, so brands can appear in search on TikTok. If that doesn't tell you how powerful social search is becoming, I don't know what will. All right, so there are your kind of broader macro shifts, are really, really fundamentally very interesting. And yeah, hopefully that's given you some insight into how you might want to tweak and adopt your strategies moving forward to the rest of this year. Let's run through some very quick updates before we hand on over to Jordan. So AI transparency is going to become very important over the remainder of this year and moving forward. AI content is everywhere. And like in the same early days of influencer marketing, where most influencers weren't declaring it was a brand and just saying, oh, this is the best skincare cream ever, and not declaring that they were paid to say it, which is bad, obviously. Displaying stuff that's AI that we don't declare is also bad. Not illegal, but unethical. So we need to think about this, and very soon I expect we're going to see some more regulation around this. There's a bit of a shout out to Adobe here, Adobe Firefly and content credentials. So when you generate things with Adobe Firefly, they're commercially safe and they have content credentials baked into them so people can see that they're made with AI. Transparency, we've all got to play our part in we care about the creative arts, we care about social media. We don't want it just to turn into into platforms where it's AI content served to AI feeds by AI recommendation algorithms. That sounds like a really dark place to me. So, declaring when we're using AI, super important. Facebook is all about views, and it's really this. If you take away nothing else from my narrative today, take away this: views is more important than followers. Fundamentally, what we should care about is views. You know this because all of the social platforms are pivoting to this as a metric. You'll see this in the professional dashboard on Facebook. That is just all about views and watch time. That's all they care about. The reason for this is because these are entertainment first platforms. In fact, Insta Reels, Facebook Reels, TikTok has more in common with Netflix than it does a social platform now, because it's ultimately about how much time can we get people spending on the platforms consuming video, and that is everything that is driving their decisions. So that's why they care deeply about views and they care deeply about watch time. And this is really important. So Instagram have started recommending 3-minute reels. Instagram are trying to push longer videos, and yeah, very, very important for us to consider this. So now we can do 3-minute reels and they'll get recommended. The reason that they're starting to push 3-minute reels is because what I said, when people have longer videos being recommended to them, they'll consume it for longer. When people consume the video for longer, they stay on the platform for longer. And what happens when a user stays on the platform for longer? Insta can sell more ads. There you go. So don't say I'm cynical, but that's how it's going to go. And similar to this, where you'll see these new metrics appear in Instagram analytics as well, like view rate past the first 3 seconds. Super important. Again, it's about views, it's about watch time, and we need to make sure that our hook is solid. So yes, we could do a 3-minute video. No point doing a 3-minute video if the first 3 seconds is like, hey everyone, just wanted to give you an update on this. No, what are we saying? Like bang straight into it. What's the compelling hook? Our friend Adam Azeri, head of Instagram, also declared how the watch time metric works. And we used to think that it's percentage of how much of a video someone viewed. So if we did a 10-second video and someone viewed at 8 seconds, 80%, we thought that was like watch time was a percentage. Adam's clarified that it's not, it's just overall watch time, which leads me to believe, they haven't said it outright, but leads me to believe that actually a longer video is better because it's going to get people watching for longer. Jordan and I talk about this all the time. There's some really useful data that proves something that I think it was a kind of no-brainer, but ultimately The more you collab with people as part of your content strategy, the more you're going to grow. So collabs on Insta, please lean into them. Please find people to work with, because the more people you work with, the further your content will go. Oh, and guess what? Insta added some new view metrics for Reels. So there you go. Views everywhere. That's what they care about, and that's what they want to help people optimize for. Look at these big bold numbers of like, here's your overall watch time. Keep getting that number up. Again, when you think what drives the platforms, and the platforms are incentivized to get you to drive, that's the thing that's going to help us define, oh, we should optimize our content for this, because that's what the platforms are incentivized to drive. So whilst I wouldn't say we need to completely shift our content to appeal to an algorithm, we know that if we want to get discovered, watch time is super important. This is also really good to help you drive those Reels views up. You can see where they're coming from. They're coming from like reshares, people coming into your profile from your
That's
feed, or
cool.
recommendations. Yeah, this data is gold dust, because it means we can really think about where we focus. So many people care so much about, like, optimizing their profile grid. Does it look perfect? But if you saw data like this, where really people aren't looking at your views to your profile, people aren't watching you from there, do you really need to focus the time? Not saying this will apply for everyone, but like if you looked at this data, you would care deeply about, okay, so I'm getting the recommendations a lot. What can I do to drive that forward? Again, I'm not going to go through this too much because I'm conscious of time. I want to make sure I give you enough time, Jordan. So, yeah, this is some best practice from LinkedIn, and I think this is general best practice, to be honest with you, which is create reels, obviously, upload the highest resolution, share when your audience is online, like we just spoken about this. So use some of the data that we shared earlier about where are the best times to post. And this is always funny, post your content on other platforms at the same time. That is not really going to help you on Instagram. That's a bit of a cheeky comment, really. But ultimately, it just goes to that whole repurposing thing we were talking about. Guess what? LinkedIn care deeply about video. The nice thing is because everyone's going in the same direction, this is all good. And they are pushing. Look at this kind of full screen feed that's coming to LinkedIn video. So again, if you want to grow on LinkedIn, like, the impressions are incredibly strong. So views looking really good. They're also pushing newsletters hard. I love LinkedIn newsletters, to be honest with you. Really easy to grow on there. And they've just added some more statistics and data points. LinkedIn's also displaying impression count on comments. This is a fantastic way of helping you understand, if LinkedIn is your thing, how much you actually get noticed for when you comment on content. I find this super useful, because it's not always about the content you put out that counts. You could grow your personal brand just by commenting on content if you so wished, and that's a nice, easy way to get started. Already spoke about this, no surprises. LinkedIn's winning for reach, and they've just allowed you to add video support to newsletters. So again, you can take those videos that perform really well, embed them in newsletters. And again, the lovely thing about newsletters is that when you press publish, it goes to the email of everyone that's subscribed. So, in this way, followers still matter, but we're kind of building on a little bit more of our owned land. No, we don't own those email addresses, and that's important to note, but still a really nice way to control the distribution for our followers. A couple more for you. Threads has added custom feeds, and this has been a big contributor to that engagement growth we spoke about earlier. So this allows you to organize threads around the themes that you're interested in. And I think this is, again, allows threads to be much more specific. So I still see threads as like more niche communities, which is perfect to drive those engagements around those interest areas that you're targeting. And I think we're nearly there. Two more. So 3-minute shorts roll out to all users. So again, all of the networks pushing to slightly longer short form video. Pretty much they're all coalescing around this 3-minute mark, which I find fascinating. They're now allowing you to quick promote your YouTube shorts. For what it's worth, TikTok had this since, well, very early on in the process. And TikTok is so useful for getting you traction, getting found in the early stages, just by throwing in, $10 here to like boost a couple of videos. Helped so much with growing followers in the early days. So YouTube Shorts might be a really interesting way to do that. And then Blue Sky, again, those kind of micro community platform that's growing really well. They've just added video. You can see a lot of consistency happen, up to 3 minutes yet again. And also, like Threads, they are organizing content around these topics, which again makes things so much more easy for people to discover, for people to find their tribes on these platforms. And this is why engagement is working really well on Blue Sky and Threads. No, it's not going to allow you to get found and get discovered in the same way that YouTube or Insta or LinkedIn could. But for that deeper engagement, they're really strong. And I think this is the final one. Reddit is rocking and rolling right now. We talk lots about Reddit, and you'll notice that Reddit have shipped this Reddit trends, and I think this is so useful. Like, honestly, I don't post on Reddit, to be honest. I read it a lot, but looking at using Reddit to evaluate what's happening in a market, absolute gold dust. So yeah, I definitely highly recommend Reddit for when you're thinking, I don't have any content ideas, or I'm feeling like I'm disconnected from my target audience. I'd love to understand more about them. That's where Reddit is super strong. And they're actually making it a lot easier to post.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, you use Reddit and post on Reddit more than I do, Jordan. So
anything that makes it easier, though, I'll take it. So that sounds great.
exactly. And it's quite an overwhelming platform to get involved with. So, for those uninitiated, I always think just go there, find the topics that are relevant to you, spend time looking and learning and tracking those trends. And then really, before we hand over to you, Jordan, because I overran by about 5 minutes, so
that's
apologies.
Okay. Don't worry.
But I really hope that this is useful. You've got some tactics that you can take away from this. But ultimately, short form video winning for reach, LinkedIn incredibly strong. That engagement is shifting to smaller niche spaces because those video first platforms are all about just upping that view time, driving that watch time, driving those views. So in fact, engagement isn't what we should be looking for there. Followers is not what we should be looking for there. It's just views. That engagement for where we want to build the communities and have the conversations with our markets, we should be looking to Reddit, Blue Sky, Threads, because that's where engagement is stronger, where it's easier to find our tribe, if you will. Already spoken about for LinkedIn, keys to growth, video, obviously, newsletters, and having a strategy around comments, super, super powerful. So those three things, if you address those, you will grow on LinkedIn. And yeah, I've spoken enough about YouTube Shorts. So hopefully this is useful. Now, let's figure out some ways that we can start capturing this. So, Jordan, I think hand it on over.
Yeah, as we switch screens here, I wanted to answer a couple questions in the chat. One, this recording is available. Oops, I am sharing the wrong thing. Sorry. This recording is available wherever you're watching it and also on Adobe Live. So don't worry about that if you didn't catch the beginning. We also had a few questions, Andy, on sharing links, because you said, link sharing is not great on social. Would you mind expanding on how you should share links, if it should be in the comments or what?
Yes. Simply put your links in comments, especially this is as it relates to LinkedIn predominantly, because this is what I do it on, but I'd probably take the same approach on other platforms. Although link stickers in stories still work really well. But for me, generally, for platforms like LinkedIn, I would always put my links in comments, and I would typically give the post maybe 15-20 minutes before I put a comment on it, let other people comment or like it first. It always seems to impact how far the content goes, particularly on LinkedIn, if you post it and comment on it straight away. So but generally try to keep your links out of the main caption, put them in comments, but of course, signpost your users to them in the comment section.
Awesome. And as always, Andy and I are available for questions about Adobe Express or social media. So feel free to DM us anytime. But with that, we're going to share some of the newest updates in Adobe Express that will help you do the things that Andy just told us are the future of social. As always, Andy tends to know more about updates than I do. So I'm going to try to show you, and then feel free to jump in when I mess something up or miss something important.
Silly. You nail it.
Perfect. So if you've never seen Adobe Express, this is the homepage. There's also a mobile app. Um, I am particularly interested in showing one of the quick actions that just came out of beta. It's also on my homepage right here in the more ways to start, which is the clip maker. So my favorite way to find it is going to quick actions, heading to video. There are lots of great quick actions here if you want to like convert a video to a GIF, caption your video is here for now. But right here, Clip Maker is a great way to do this content repurposing that Andy and I talk about all the time. So if you have a long form video, like for example, the live stream that Andy and I are recording right now, this is an hour long and not something that we can just like post on social, on YouTube only. But we could take something like this and actually clip it down into shorter videos. And this is going to use AI to like, if there's, you have to use a video with audio, right? Like
Oh, spoken
with
word. Yeah.
spoken, yeah. So it's going to actually analyze the what it's going to analyze what you're saying and try to bring out the most important clips. So this takes a little bit of time. I'm not going to do it live, but as you can see, you just drop a video here. So I have this video. It is like a 12-minute video where I talk about how to make 11-minute video where I talk about the best way to make reels with Adobe Express. And so all I would do is hit generate clips, which I'm not going to do live. Anything else before I leave this screen that you want to call out, Andy?
No, I'd just say that it probably takes about 15, 20 minutes to get this done. But the good news is that you can carry on editing in Express,
Yeah.
yourself a cup of coffee, and it'll be done by the time you come back.
That is the nice thing. You don't have to leave the window up. You'll just get a notification when it's ready. But I'm gonna cooking show magic to the finished version here, which this is what it's gonna look like. And the nice thing is, like Andy said, you don't have to stay on the screen. I just open this from my notifications. And as always, I love this. I love this note that like, please check this. As everything with AI, it doesn't necessarily going to be exactly what you want. So just make sure to like actually watch all these clips first. But what I love is here, this 11-minute video gave me 10 clips. They are sorted, I believe. I know these 3 are labeled top clip. They're sorted by, well, I guess you can choose what they're sorted by. So quality rating or duration or chronology. So that's a really nice way to be able to choose like exactly what you're looking for. If you're looking for the shortest clip, if you want to see the clips, in order of your video. But I like this quality rating because this is going to give me what, it thinks are the top clips here. And so, yeah, now I have 10 videos. It is also automatically captioning it for me because the clip maker already had to analyze the transcript. It already clipped this out. So if you've ever used the caption maker in Express, you'll recognize this, but you can choose, the style that you want. You can customize the colors if you want. You can make it on brand. I am not sure if I play this, if it will play the audio. We're going to see.
No, don't think so.
Okay, so that's kind of great because then I don't have double talking. But as you can see here, this is how this clipped out. And so like, this is giving me the vertical for social that I want. And then I did a screen share, so it's kind of like building out this vertical video with the horizontal screen share that I took with the captions here. So I can like preview any of these as I want, delete any that just aren't quite right. And I also really love that it has these little captions to just kind of let me know what each video is about. Before I open an editor, anything else I should call out on this
No,
screen?
all good. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So then if I want to continue to edit it, I'll open it in the editor, or if everything looks great, I can just download that as it is. But now I'm gonna get all of those clips as separate videos in my project here. So now I can come back to this whenever I want. I'll open up the one that I was using before. So if I want to like add music to the background, or if I want to make any edits, or maybe I want to like drag this around or like change if I want it to be on a black background instead, I can make any edits the way I can with any Express video. The timeline here is at the bottom. And, maybe I wanted to add my logo to the corner, anything like that. I have all of the editing options right at my fingertips. So this is a really great way to take long form video and clip it down without having to, honestly, for me, the hardest part is like, okay, then I have to go rewatch the video, find the most important parts. This is doing all of that for me, and automatically clipping it really could not be easier. So that is the brand new clip maker in beta, which is super cool. And then from here, can download the clips, or as we know, share directly to social with our social media scheduler. And so here, I can choose if I want this to go out on Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, and post to all of these platforms. Oh man, I thought I just did that. Post to all of these platforms at the same time. And there we go. That is the clip maker. Anything else to comment on this before we move on?
One thing that also we've just shipped, which is going to be useful. If you click on your lovely face in the editor, so click on the media. You don't have it yet. Don't worry, it's coming very soon. Enhanced speech will be coming to this soon.
Oh, cool.
So
yeah, if you've played with that in like Adobe Podcast or Premiere, that is coming to Express, and that's super exciting. Because actually, you can't hear this now, but I recorded this like in an empty room, and there was a lot of echo. So I would love to use enhanced speech on this, which is great.
Cool. Should be coming out to everyone very, very soon. But I think this is the thing that starts to make this clip maker feel different to other clipping tools, because there are quite a few out there that allow you to take long form to short. But given like the extra editing capabilities, and like in one click you could change those all the captions into your font. You could one click translate it into another language. You can then resize it to different formats to reuse across different social platforms, and share it directly to social from here. When you think of all those components, it creates like an incredibly strong like end-to-end flow. So yeah, I'm, as you can tell, really excited about this. It's taken a long time to get it to get to this stage, and yeah, we've still got a lot of improvements to make. But yeah, looking forward to hearing what you think.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, you can one click. I don't know if you saw me do that as Andy was talking, but you can one click apply brand, and it will apply it'll apply your brand to your captions, and it'll do it on all the pages at once, which is very cool. So that is a huge time saver if you want your captions to be on brand. And if you haven't explored the Adobe Express brands, highly recommend checking that out. We have tons of videos on that. We also have custom Reels covers. So for example, I created this reel. It's like a day in my life. Oops, that's not the one I wanted. This is a good way to show, how you can schedule not only from Express. I will add from my device here. Yeah, I made this in Express. Here we go. This little reel of a day in the life that we had at the University of Maryland last week. And so while that's uploading, I will go to Instagram here and post it as a reel. I think. Let me see if I just broke this.
That should be loading. Do you want to try caption writer at the same time? Because
let's try. Okay.
We made some improvements there too.
Cool. Let's see. Let me try this one more time. And if this might just be, I think I downloaded it as a decently big file. So we'll see if that goes. Let's try this one more time. Upload that, and we'll play with the caption writer while that's happening. Okay. What should I do? Is there anything?
No, just give it.
How should I show this up? Okay.
Whenever's the I don't know what the video is about. So,
We had a great time at University of Maryland last week. Okay.
so
Uh, with, let's say with Adobe Express.
cool, let's see what it.
Okay, that's my problem. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Generate a new caption here. Oh, nice. I love these little emojis here. That's great that it actually these hashtags are great. So yeah, if you've never used the caption writer, this is a great way to be able to just write captions with just a little prompt like that. So maybe I will, and the nice thing is it's totally editable. So as I can come in, like I love these emojis. I really, really like this. Thanks for sharing with us. Sometimes I forget to like, I forget like a call to action in my caption sometimes. So that is great. Um, and yeah, that's a really nice way to be able to generate captions if you have not seen what's new, and you can rewrite anything, shorten or lengthen it, which is awesome. I don't know.
It's cool. We've got
I
the
must
edit.
have done something. But yeah, we have the edit reel cover here. So the nice thing is I can either select a frame or I want to add a custom cover. So I actually downloaded what I want. I want this to be my cover here, so I can upload that, which is nice. So this is brand new. You can add a custom reel cover, which we did not used to be able to do, and now we can. So you can create something in Adobe Express, which is lovely, and you can keep it all consistent so that your feed looks great. Anything else on this?
No, nailed it.
Okay, cool. Uh, one more thing I wanted to show. Well, two more things actually. Let me go back really quick to we can post anything here. Let's just go to let's go to this event that I'm hosting today. We'll share this to social. And the nice thing about, or a brand new thing that we have available here is also this add alt text to your images. Sorry, I don't know if this is my service or what. Sorry that it's taking a second, I guess, because everything, oh, because this is a video. Sorry, I thought this was a static post. But we can add alt text to our images, which is great for SEO purposes and great for just being able to add accessibility to your posts. Sorry, let me actually go to one last project, which is static. This is, I don't know if anyone has taken the creative types test that we have at Adobe. I'll share the link on my socials. It's very fun. I found out I'm the regenerator. This is static though, so I'll share this because we can also share static posts as Instagram stories now. So that is a new thing that we didn't used to have, and now we do, which is great. So you can add static posts to your stories. You can then build out all of your stories to share all at once, which is lovely. And we used to have video stories, so it's really exciting that we have static options now. And here's the alt text. So if I wanted to say, this is kind of a goofy one, but the alt text for this could be
Yeah, have fun.
sharing results of creative type test. Jordan is the regenerator. Oh, it looks like some people in chat have taken the test. That's fun. And then we can save that. So yeah, alt text is great to add accessibility, to make sure that everyone can tell what your posts are. It's great for different readers, and also good selfishly for SEO. And then yeah, it's exciting that we can share static stories. So if you've tried that in the past, you can do it now, which is super exciting. Is there any other last updates that I
So
should share?
two things. All right, you can come out of that. Two
Okay.
things real quick because I know we're near the top of time. So,
Yeah.
Cool. If you click the image that I don't quite know how to describe in the
Yep.
cool. If you go to effects, and then you've got it seems kind of minor, but it hasn't been expressed, and people were wanting it big time, which is drop shadows. So
Yeah, we have drop shadows now.
yeah, it shouldn't.
We get asked for this all the time.
Yeah. So now we've got it, and as well as like I love this actually filters at the top. So 50
Yes.
filters from
So
Photoshop.
these are amazing. If you use like Lightroom or Photoshop to edit your photos, it is so nice to have these filters. And you can customize the intensity, but this is so clutch to have in Express because I usually edit my photos in Lightroom and then bring them over into Express, but now I have more options of editing right here. So it's becoming, really the place to be able to do all of your editing all in the same spot, which is great. And so, yeah, all of these updates are super exciting. We have more coming soon, so definitely stay tuned for that. And with that, I think that is our time. Thanks so much, Andy, for sharing all of the what's new and what's upcoming. Like I said, this recording is going to be available on Adobe Live. Feel free to DM me. I'm at Jordan Danae Ellis. I'm the only Jordan Danae Ellis on LinkedIn. And Andy is at Andy R. Lambert. So feel free to find us to ask for the slides, to ask us any questions that we didn't answer from chat or that you just have about social media or Adobe Express in general. And we'll be back later with more updates. So thanks for spending your time with us. Thanks so much, Andy.
Thanks, Jordan. Thank you,
Bye,
everyone.
everyone.
Bye bye.